boy.
See today. Let me take you down memory lane.
What's up, man? We here. Ready to movie.
What's good? We're gonna get it in a second. Gonna do a quick audio check and we'll get right into it. Bryson Gray, All of Me. Let's get it.
I used to walk in the club, buying bottles, throwing dubs, thinking that it was all that I need. But I already know when I change that old dirt on my name, so I know they're all about me. But I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me. Brush on my shoulders, how to get the devil off of me. R.I.P. Kept my flesh, no apologies. I don't wanna ever hear 3 words, that's the part for me. Don't care if they talking me. I was 16 in the strip club, showing love while the DJs playing my
What's good? Ronnie D responded. I'm just doing an audio check. We're gonna get started within a minute or two.
Rapping about money, sex, and women, and they love it. But we grew up the same, so we ain't thinking nothing of it. All we cared about was music, getting drunk and clubbing. But when you become new, then your past means nothing. Yeah, I used to step in the spot, drunk, entertaining thoughts. Now I don't want them girls around me. I used to walk in the club, buying bottles, throwing dubs, thinking that it was all that I need. But I already know when I change that old dirt on my name, so I know they're all about me. But I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me. I remember we performed with Soulja Boy, back to crank that, and we knew success was coming soon. We could taste that, and we had dreams of making money just to make tracks. And but that was early on. I could take you way back when we was on 106 and Park, and the city was behind us. That was around the time I dated Ariana, and then we got on radio and ran the Carolinas, just telling girls to shake for the dollars. And then we started really getting views. We performed with J. Cole at WSSU. Labels was calling too, but God knew, so he didn't give me the fame. Now look at me getting attacked for his name.
What's good? Osiris here. We got a hot topic with the continuation of what's going on. The continuation of what's going on with Pappy Don and the potential of him being shackled. I wonder if they're going to try to get him up in the shackles for the demonstration. We'll see. We don't know if anything is going to happen at all. There's different stories coming out. I'm not really too concerned about following the intricacies of what day are the shackles going on. Let's talk about why we're even talking about shackles in the first place. It's not about, why are people caught up on the date? I even heard some people say, well, if it doesn't happen Tuesday, then Trump is, will be embarrassed. And what are you talking about? That's not even like, I need you to take the helicopter up. There's this bigger picture going on. Nathaniel Erskine, thank you for stopping by, says that he is very interested in this topic. So am I. Toy Mafia, yo. Thanks for always stopping by. So let's go right into it. I believe I did an audio check. Sounds all right. So let's get into the response. We've been waiting for it, and I'm going to break it down, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to present to you, I'm calling him Ronnie Delight. Not a negative nickname. I just kind of like Sunny D. I never, Sunny D is not good for you, the drink, but I was never against it. I actually liked Sunny D. So this nickname's not really a disrespectful one, but here we go. Ronnie Delight. What are your thoughts? It's been a minute. We were talking about this since Friday. Haven't heard now word from you, my nickel. What's up?
We wanted to know what your thoughts are on the rumored Trump indictment, and if you have any role in it. If charges are brought on him, will you have any role in extradition to New York?
So I've seen rumors swirl. I have not seen any facts yet, and so I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know this: the Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutor, and so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
Bruh.
But what I can speak to
Bruh.
is that if you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. And I think that that's fundamentally wrong. I also think it's important to point out when you're talking about these Soros-funded prosecutors, yes, they may do a high-profile politicized prosecution, and that's bad, but the real victims are ordinary New Yorkers, ordinary Americans in all these different jurisdictions, that they get victimized every day because of the reckless political agenda that these Soros-DAs bring to their job. They ignore crime and they empower criminals, and that hurts people, hurts a lot of people every single day. These Soros district attorneys are a menace to society, and I'm just glad that I'm the only governor in the country that's actually removed one from office during my tenure. And in terms of, we are not involved in this, won't be involved in this.
Huh?
I have no interest in getting involved in some type of manufactured circus by some Soros-DA, okay? He's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base. I've got real issues I got to deal with here in the state of Florida. We're obviously shutting down CBDC, which is important. We've got so many things pending in front of the legislature. I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people. I can't spend my time worrying about things of that nature. So we're not going to be involved in it in any way. I'm fighting for Floridians, and I'm fighting back against Biden. That's what I do every single day. Yep.
Okay, let me make sure I didn't lose my feed. 1 second. From my inside source, I'm not getting my feed. What is going on? 1 second. If you can hear me, 1 second. I don't know what's going on. I am stuck. Okay, hopefully I'm back. My system froze up, but that's Ronnie D. I'm going to bring it back again so we can break it down. That was the full statement, to my knowledge, was about 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
We wanted to know what your thoughts are on the rumored Trump indictment, and if you have any role in it. If charges are brought on him, will you have any role in extradition to New York?
Okay, this is where I have to stop it first. Hopefully the audio. Let me know if the audio is still good. Thanks, Steve Johnson, for stopping by. Charles Parker. The first problem I have is, why did somebody have to ask you for you to comment on this? Are we bothering you, Ron? Were you going to say anything if nobody asked you? Like, if you're in a relationship or something like that, sometimes you want to be proactive. It doesn't matter if he agrees or cares or not about the I don't know why it's so hard to explain this stuff. People, it's hard to articulate. Try to articulate yourself. It's really hard. There's always going to be a certain percentage of people that don't get what you're saying. Forget about what you feel about Trump. This is in the atmosphere, and he doesn't talk about it until somebody in the press asks him about it. Even if everything he just said there, he could have released that statement on Saturday. So that doesn't solve what are we waiting for? You don't have to. Vivek Ramaswamy did not comment on the rumors being true or not. That's irrelevant. You could comment on the situation we're in our country. And it took him, the rumors got heavy on Friday. Saturday, they blew up. What was he doing this weekend? Ron, can I ask you, what were you up to, bro? There was nothing more important you couldn't release a 1-sentence statement? Like, everything you said right there could have been in a tweet, basically. I mean, you don't even need a thread anymore. They let you do a lot in one tweet. So it doesn't answer why you waited. That's not leadership. Why you waited, and then why you didn't address it until somebody in the press asked you about it. Am I bothering you? Do you have more important things to do than the first time ever a president potentially getting... they would want to do the handcuffs. I mean, that's probably why Trump wanted to get this out there. He wanted to say, hey, there's no need for them to raid me or cuff me. He's getting it out there saying you don't have to do that kind of stuff. And that's where we're at. Cindy Lou, thanks for stopping by. Long time no see. Thanks for catching the live. So I have a problem from there. There's good and bad in this statement. It's not all bad. I'm going to keep on going. It's not all bad.
So I've seen rumors swirl. I have not seen any facts yet, and so I don't know what's going to happen.
That's a bad statement, because what that is allowing him to do is say, oh, I don't really need to comment on it fully because it hasn't happened yet. So are you going to try to tell me that leadership is being reactive? That's leadership? Waiting for it to happen, then you say something, then you'll fully comment? No, we can talk about the possibility. So, not good again.
But I do know this, the Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutor. And so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast, vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into
okay, whoa. I can't get into that yet. So his comments, we'll talk about the hush money, passive-aggressive diss in a second. So he's talking about Soros. To me, that means something. This isn't the first time he's kind of called out Soros. He said later on, I fired one of his DAs. Okay, you get credit for that, because if you mention Soros, people flat out call you anti-Sem just for mentioning it. If you mention his name and you don't have knee pads out for him, you're anti-Sem to a lot of people. And DeSantis is a very Jewish-friendly candidate, so is Trump. So that means something to me. I don't think they have some type of deal where I can go after Soros guys. Let me do that so I can get in the good graces of these people. I don't think Soros rolls like that. Maybe they do. It could be a deal behind the scenes to say, hey, I got to go after Soros. The ADL has gone after DeSantis a little bit, and Christina Persaud. They have. So I don't know where that is. And bottom line, I give him credit for that statement. Period. No qualifications. He flat out called out the Soros-DA, called out some of the problems with it. He's still not big picture enough, but he gets credit for that. Now here we go with the passive-aggressive diss. This is funny.
And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. But they're laughing.
I used to live in Minnesota. That was some Minnesota nice. Minnesota nice really means savage without trying to sound savage. It's passive aggressive. So Ron DeSantis is like, here's what I can't speak to, is him bending over a prawn star while he's married, having his jollies and having to pay her off. I can't speak to that. And I have zero problem. Trump called him, didn't Trump insinuate he was a pedo or something like that? They're competing. The bottom line, I don't care about Trump. It's not about him. People misconstrued this and was like, oh, supporting Trump. I know we say that, but that's not what it's about. Donald Trump is a lifelong corporate cabal Democrat only because he had to get his business dealings in New York. He's a lifelong Democrat with no political ideology. He's been based for a long time, but his family, all of them, lifelong Democrats. They're in New York. So he kind of he wanted to get in the club. He wanted to buy an NFL team. For whatever reason, the Cabal Club never liked Trump. Even before he blew up, even before he became president, they never liked him. They never let him in the club. Why? I don't know. But so he's had that beef all along. And then he has had legit based takes. He was only a Democrat because he just cared about his business. So if you're doing construction work and marketing and just anything out of New York and you don't really care about politics, you're going to be with Democrats. You're not going to be with Republicans in New York, even back then. So by bringing that up to say, I don't have any allegiance to this man. I mean, I really couldn't care if he was in handcuffs in a jail cell. In a vacuum, like if he was never president, never the face of MAGA, I couldn't care less. So him going after Trump, I think that would have been great if he would have actually got to the heart of the problem, and he contradicted himself in this statement. So he talks about the Soros-funded DA, Alvin Bragg, and how the problems it causes for common people in New York and citizens everywhere. And then he ends the statement, as we're going to keep on going, he ends it saying, I'm going to focus on Floridians. He contradicts himself in this statement. Oh, and I know, the chat, you're probably going to blow up. By the way, Trump is a Floridian. He is a Florida citizen. Bizarre statement here that just shows you he's not ready for the national scene.
Can speak to is that if you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office.
And I think my feedback for DeSantis would have been, okay, you did the passive aggressive jab at Trump, because Trump had been going whap whap, and so it's okay if you come in whap, little sneak, okay, but you had an opportunity to go after Brandon. What are we? If we're going to do this, let's do it. If we are going to, for all the people who come through and they're like, oh yeah, Trump did this or that, yeah, no one's above the law. If we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's bring Obama into it. Let's bring Hillary C into it. Let's bring the resident Brandon. Let's bring his son into it. There's no red states. What are the red states doing? I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but I'm pretty sure there would be a red state prosecutor somewhere that could dig up a similar type of thing and go after one of them. So why wouldn't DeSantis say that too? He went after Trump, but he didn't go after Brandon in the statement. Why is that? I don't know. I find that weird. I find that unusual. Why would you do that? And then at the end, so he's going to talk about, let me see. He's going to talk about the citizens.
Important to point out when you're talking about these Soros-funded, the real victims.
The real victims. Listen to the real victims.
Are ordinary New Yorkers, ordinary Americans.
Ordinary New Yorkers, and then he broadened it out to ordinary Americans. Mr. Ron DeSantis, does that include Floridians?
In all these different jurisdictions, that they get victimized every day because of the reckless political agenda that these Soros-DAs bring to their job.
That includes Floridians or Florida citizens like Donald Trump. And at the end of the statement, he says, what?
He's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base. I've got real issues I got to deal with here in the state of Florida. We're obviously shutting down CBDC, which is important. We've got so many things pending in front of the legislature. I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people.
Oh, see, so just a second ago, you said it mattered to New Yorkers, and he's done everything to run for president except for announce it. So Ron DeSantis supporters, I do not want to hear anything about he hasn't announced yet. I'm not the NPC left. I am not some idiot up here Maybe I am, but in this aspect, don't try to pull the wool over my eyes. We all know we have to assume he's running for president unless he says otherwise. He's had plenty of times. He just did a Fox News hit, and he didn't say I wasn't going to. So don't go back to some old statement where he said he's not going to run for president. He had a chance recently to say it on national TV, didn't say it. In fact, he said, let's revisit it in 3 months, basically. So he is a candidate for president. He responded to Tucker Carlson. When he said it affects New Yorkers, you're running for New Yorkers too, if you're going to run for president. And then he said Floridians. So you want to focus on issues that matter to Floridians. Now, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter at the end of the speech or his response. Which is important. We've got so many things pending in front of the legislature. I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people. I can't spend. So you see what DeSantis did here. If he didn't have that statement against George Soros, this would have been so bad. And maybe I should throw that statement out because what is it really worth? But I'm not going to. If he didn't have that statement about George Soros, I think it would have been so bad, I would have said, just go ahead and drop out. You're great for Florida. Let me reiterate, go ahead and do Florida. Go against the CBDC. Do what you do in Florida because that seems like that's your strength. Every offensive coordinator doesn't need to be a head coach. Every defensive coordinator doesn't need to be a head coach. And when it comes to broadening this out to the country, he doesn't need to be president. He's not ready right now. Spend my time worrying about things of that nature. So we're not going to be involved in it. We're not going to be involved in it. What? In any way. I'm fighting for Floridians, and I'm fighting back against Biden. That's what I do every single. You didn't say anything against Biden, and Trump is a Floridian. Bruh, DeSantis supporters, help me out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting at wit's end with y'all. I really am. Like y'all come out with all this stuff. When I talk about DeSantis, I am very specific. I need you to be as specific. Help me understand how this. I'm gonna bring it back. Ron DeSantis supporters for president, not for Florida. I'm talking about if you support him for president over Trump, I need explanation here to this. Listen to this. Legislature, I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people. So he says Trump getting hemmed up, potentially shackled, doesn't matter to people. You agree with that? Let's keep going. I can't spend my time worrying about things of that nature. So we're not going to be involved in. We're not going to be involved. Why wouldn't you be involved? What this is a dispute. It should be a dispute between states. Who resolves a dispute between states? The Supreme Court, just like the Texas case from the last ticketing process that we all know 81 didn't go to the resident. I'm not even asking the question. So people say, well, what could Ron DeSantis do? Ron DeSantis can say Donald Trump is a resident of Florida. New York, you've gone rogue. We don't recognize your ability to extradite him. Go find some effing rocks to kick. They could say that. And then if New York has a problem, there is no enforcement body. I know this is really confusing because when you look at our country, the blue states all are getting power through the federal government, the deep state, and the administrative state. That includes states like Georgia. There are no red states, basically. But let's just, for ease of discussion, the blue states have all this power. So it seems like, okay, if Florida didn't agree, the federal government would come in and we would be in that civil conflict. That could happen, but that's not what's supposed to happen. There is no enforcement body if there's a dispute between two states. Where does it go? It goes straight to the Supreme Court because there ain't nowhere else for it to go. And the Supreme Court itself has no enforcement body. So Ron DeSantis, if he had that big dick energy, Carrie Lake, go ahead and take that comment back. You don't have that energy. Does that sound like a big dick energy statement to you, that reply? If he had that big dick energy, that's what he would do. he would say, Pappy, I don't know what happened. We fell out. You called me pedo. I can't relate to having to pay off some trashy prawn star while you were married. You couldn't find someone hotter than Stormy Daniels, Pappy. But let's put that all aside. What they're doing is wrong to you. You're a Florida resident. Don't go. We're going to handle this. I don't even like you anymore. It's bigger than that. We're going to handle this. We're still going to battle. And maybe after the primary, maybe we'll make up and we'll figure something out. The loser will be VP. Let's make that bet, Pappy. But what you're not going to do is go to New York. That's big dick energy. What this shit right here? Oh, this is some old little dick energy. What is this? I don't know what this is. This ain't even little dick energy. This is like Transformer. This is like you got the surgery. That's the energy that DeSantis gave me on this reply. Like he got bottom surgery. Like he doesn't have it anymore. So DeSantis supporters, I need you to be specific. Let me know what I'm missing here. Please let me know. Either you agree with this statement or not. There's a statement. So this is where I'm going to end this topic. So I look at the comments. There's a state. You might know where I'm going when I say it's not about Trump. It's not about Trump. It's never been about Trump. I've done this on the live when it was Mar-a-Lago, all that kind of stuff. The Ron DeSantis supporters, either you agree with this meme or not. And that's fine if you disagree. But the meme is Trump tweeted it. In reality, they're not after me. They're after you. I'm just in the way. And either you agree with that or you don't. That's the fundamental difference. And I am perfectly fine with us. There's no beef where we agree, we're going to agree. But to me, this isn't a litmus test. This is a fundamental way that we view the country differently. Even if you still support, I said I'm not voting for Trump. Even if you support DeSantis over Trump, that's fine. But I need a fundamental agreement on certain things. Otherwise, we are kind of split off. It's going to be I don't even consider DeSantis MAGA, so I don't know what you're going to call that, but that's the fundamental issue there. Let me see. I hate to go to the comments to look for people who disagree, because thank you, GB's in the chat, friends of shows in the chat, Ray Infinity's in the chat. I just don't get it, Ron DeSantis supporters. I don't get it. I don't get you. Is it just because you hated Trump's personality this whole time? He's not babysitting your kids. What the hell does his personality have to do with anything? Why don't you address the millions of people that basically used him to rally behind? Because they had no one else. No one else could have beat Hillary. Why don't you understand that? I'm at a loss, man. I'm almost more frustrated with the Ron. Not if you support him, support him. But when I interact with y'all don't have the specifics. Let me take a look and see here. I'm just like, just for the show, GB, thanks for being a member, of course. Only $1 a month. DeSantis has that flaccid D energy. DeSantis need that blue pill, y'all. I don't even know if I don't even trust him. I don't even know. Because, when you take that blue pill, if you have psychological issues, it ain't going to help you. It does nothing for you. I bet you this woman right here, this is how little the D energy was from DeSantis. This woman right here, she could.
I love their sausages.
This woman right here could just swallow it whole. That's how small. This is how small the D energy is from him. It's not even. Don't worry. It's not that big. Oh, hey, she swallowed the whole thing whole. She probably would go with DeSantis and be like, "Where's the rest of it?" I mean, he doesn't have none of that. He's probably 1/10 of that. She going ahead and showing off her talents. She doesn't need that level of talent to deal with Ron DeSantis. Not based on that statement. I'm going to give you Ron DeSantis supporters some more time. I just, please, somebody help me out. Patriots of the American Republic, appreciate you always. This is Carlos and Saul. Sub up. Click on that link and sub up. Nope, you're 100% right, Osiris. This is bigger than political rivalry. And that makes me think about something, because people were commenting me and saying, well, he called out DeSantis, basically called him a pedo and all that. And I was like, so what? It's bigger than that. You remember when Pappy called he called Steve Sloppy Bannon. He called Steve Sloppy Steve. I messed it up there. It's not Sloppy Bannon. It was Sloppy Steve to roll off the tongue. And what? Do you think that stopped Steve Bannon from doing what's right? You think Steve Bannon really likes Trump? You think in an alternate multiverse universe that Steve Bannon would like Donald Trump if he never went, embraced the populist right? No. But here's what a leader really does. Don Dada had beef with Bannon, called him Sloppy Bannon.
What happens to him and Sloppy Steve? Sloppy Steve is Trump's new nickname for Steve Bannon.
Did you ever see Steve Bannon try to burn down the populist movement because of it?
Bannon playing cleanup on his radio show.
The President of the United States is a great man. I support him day in and day out.
Oh, because Steve Bannon cares about the people. He knows Trump is the mascot. He's the one that got Trump to be the mascot in a way.
He doesn't know a lot, and he doesn't know any policy, which he shouldn't. He's a real estate guy and a TV guy. I give him the history of populism when Andrew Jackson, when James Bryan, bring him up to date with Ross Perot, everything like that. And he turns to me and goes, "That's what I am." I go, "What?" He goes, "A popularist." I go, No. It's populist.
So he never burned the bridge of trying to start any type of beef or anything like that, even as Trump attacked him and called him Sloppy Steve. That's what a populist would do. I care more about the people than anybody calling me a name. So that's the answer. If you DeSantis supporters say, well, he called him a name, what is he supposed to do? What about what about the people? Give a ish about Trump, Ron DeSanctimonious. Yeah, pedo is a pretty strong thing to infer. It's either about the people or not. Either you're a leader or you're not. Let me know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still waiting. I'm gonna move on because Greg Wilson, a great friend of the show, says, I think I'm in love with Asian chicks now. Greg, what would make you say something like that? I'm going to need y'all to behave on this channel. I don't want to turn this into something that's not. We just had friend of the show, Carlos, on the show, and we're talking about religion and God and sin. And I'm just showing you a food eating contest woman, and she has talents. She has talents that should be recognized and were given to her by the Creator. And I just want to recognize that. I don't know why you would say that, though, Greg. Where are the Ron DeSantis supporters at? Where are you at, y'all? What y'all doing? Where you at? I need you.
Where the fuck are the Joe Biden?
DeSantis supporters.
Where the fuck are the Joe Biden supporters? I can tell y'all why I support Trump. Tell me why y'all support this motherfucker.
Where are you at? Until I get a good response, I'm done with that topic. Until I get a good response, I get it in the comments, I get it on Twitter and everywhere else. I don't get it on the live, so maybe we're in the echo chamber. That's fine. Yes, Ray, friend of the show, of course. Ray Studio says Trump is a Floridian is trending on Twitter. I mean, Ron, just in case you didn't know, do you know where Mar-a-Lago is? I know you know where it is because you coordinated with the feds to get Trump raided, allegedly. So I know you know where it is. Get right, bro. Get right. I'm real close to saying he just needs to drop out. If he didn't go after George S., I would have just said he needs to drop out. Happening right now, steel barriers are being put up outside of Manhattan. They're putting steel barriers up outside of Manhattan. So do you think it's going to happen or not? I would guess towards it's going to happen at some point. But who knows? Maybe it's just to set up the whole scene. You know what, guys? I think I got a sneak peek. They're starting to form, this is satire, they're starting to form outside the courthouse in Manhattan, the secret courthouse in the basement. Here they are. These are the patriots that are going out there in the courthouse, and I'm sure they're going to be very, very violent. I'm sure there's no Fed boys involved in any of this. I'm sure it's all diehard Trump supporters that love their country that never would burn it down, but all of a sudden they got to board up buildings for them. There's the people who are going down to Manhattan if it happens. I'm going to take a hard left here for a second, and I want to talk about relationships. I want to talk about the dynamic of family dynamic, and I want to make a statement here. Sierra, the other day at the Oscars, she wore what I would consider one of the most scandalous outfits I've ever seen someone wear in public. And I'm showing a video of it right now, and for me to describe it is really simple. She's naked. I don't know. People were calling this thing a dress, or I don't know what they were calling it. She's wearing mesh, like an open mesh, not even like fishnet, just a mesh on her body. Sierra, everybody. I think she has something covering her nipples up is why that's not just full nudity. And I made this statement with Jennifer Van Laar, and she actually replied to it. Shout out to Jennifer Van Laar. Shout out to Jennifer. I'm going to show y'all, if you haven't seen this, let me show you this real quick. She is, I have so much respect for her that she didn't take it the wrong way, because I'm a big supporter of her, like her actual work. So, I do stuff like that, play around a little bit, and, I wonder if it obviously could rub people the wrong way, and I wouldn't blame her one bit. But she saw that I didn't, demonetization warning. What was that? Oh, okay, no, that's something else. But let me show you. It's a similar type of topic. We'll get back to Sierra here. It's the same topic, but I want to give a shot. I have not done this live yet or on recording. Jennifer Van Laar. So I did a video supporting Jennifer Van Laar because she put it all out there, let's just say, for us and gave us the gift. And sorry for Carlos is probably like, bruh. Carlos is probably like, I got a lot of work to do with this, bruh. Carlos is like, I will pray for you. Friend of show, Carlos was just, I guarantee you, I'm going to get a text from Carlos. If he happens to see it, I don't know if it was Saul or Carlos on the account. Carlos is going to be like, bro, I'm going to pray for you. But back to Jennifer Van Laar. So I did a video on Jennifer Van Laar. I gave her credit. I made an official statement from middlemaga.com that we support Jennifer and in her endeavors. And she actually, the real Jennifer Van Laar replied. She said, just saw this. Thank you for the support. I laughed and thought it was great. Shout out to Jennifer Van Laar. No diss. We're just having fun with it. I do support you 100% on your work, even though we disagree on DeSantis. Thanks for not taking it the wrong way. Going back to Sierra, I hope she doesn't take this the wrong way, and I hope Russell doesn't either. Another middlemaga.com official support, official statement of support. If Sierra wants to go out and be butt-ass naked at the Oscars, I stand with her and I fight for her. Whatever was this justice, whatever justice this is, I'm fully there for it. And if you can't see, if you're listening on the podcast, let's just say the presentation is impressive. And she's had how many kids? Stop it. I know it's easy when your job is kind of to work out and be fit. If that's your job, it's easier to do it. Maybe you can hire a chef to give you all the healthy meals, make them taste as good as possible. It's there though. I mean, the results are the results no matter how they come. And she was literally ass out. I love her hair. I know we're not going to look at her hair too much here, but it reminded me of the 90s. The hairstyle in the 90s was so good on women. It was just really simple. Now they did do the pressing the hair to straighten it out, whatever. I really like natural hairstyle, but unnatural, pressing out, very simple, beautiful. And the back is fully exposed, and I've seen better derrieres, but it's the package is undeniable. She's got the heels on to accentuate the calves. I'm all there for it. Now, for people who were talking about Russell Wilson, I understand that, because here's the thing. I'm not going to tell my wife what to wear or not. I ain't her daddy. She ain't my mommy. But I will say, if you do go out in that, then I have divorce papers ready for you the minute you come back. You don't have to. I'm just saying it like if that was my wife or if I was Russell. Russell Wilson, he didn't look too happy, did he? Look at the pictures with Russell Wilson. Would you be happy if this was your wife? Would you be happy if your husband went out literally, pretty much just butt-ass naked? So naked that I don't even know if YouTube allows it. That's why they covered up the ass crack. Does Russell Wilson look happy to you? You got a wife that looks that beautiful at that stage. You'd be cheesing from grinning from ear to ear. She's got the heels on. She's got the outfit. Then she has more covering her elbows than she does her upper area. She's got more covering her forearm than she has her nether regions. And you know why Russell's not happy? Because he's whipped. He's bitched out. There's no other way to say it. I ain't going to tell you what to do, but I can say these are the consequences for your actions. But from middlemaga.com, you go, girl. You go. You made that day. I was happy about it. The Oscars, Ray was like, the Oscars could go rated R. If the Oscars want to go rated R, then okay. But with it as PG, that means kids watch it, so no naked. You know what? I'm going to leave that in the hands of parents to keep that away. My oldest is playing a little bit of tablet stuff. We're going to make sure he's not connected to the internet because we don't want people chatting with him and stuff like that. I think that's on parental controls. You're going to have to protect your children from that naked ass Sierra. And I'm in that boat too. I got 2 young children. I don't want them like, Daddy, what are those 2 things on? Daddy, what is she wearing? I don't want that. So I got to keep them away from it. I fully support her in her endeavors, if that's what she wants to do. Gretchen Whitmer is just an interesting case in the Democratic Party. And if I've shown this video before, this is a TikTok. Here we are again with TikTok.
Stupid, what's happening?
Here we are with TikTok and the politicians using it because it's a psyop of an app. I don't blame them at all. This is really Gretchen Whitmer with her non-dancing ass. I'm a bad dancer. I think I might be able to get her. That's how bad she is. Stiff. She forgot the routine in the middle of it, if you notice it. She was like, what am I doing again? So she did it there. Then she was like, whoop, wait for it. Oh, she didn't know. She forgot the routine. She's a politician. I don't know what she's doing on this app. They must know some type of mind control or psychology. They put a lot of studies into this. And what I found interesting about this was that the state of Michigan, they actually banned TikTok from state employees. But they made some exceptions. One of the exceptions was for promotion. Gretchen Whitmer has 200,000, at least at the time the article was written, followers on TikTok. They banned it for all state employees, except for stuff like this. And after the ban went in place, she's been putting TikToks up. They banned it for everyone except for, really the whole purpose it should be banned is the CCP controlling what politics are being shown here in our country. They're very good. They're very good. So now Gretchen Whitmer can say, I stood up to TikTok. And if you don't read the fine print, you don't see that she didn't stand up to anybody. I just got a lot of small hitting stories. Let me know what you think about that. I just thought that was so fitting of the Democrat Party. You might even go as far to say that liberalism is a disease, a mental illness. This article was going viral on Substack. This is a Substack right here from Jonathan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Haidt. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I apologize. But it kind of went over the fact that, well, from these studies, so I don't think it's a fact, but there is data based on some studies that liberal women have more mental illness. From 2020, this is old. This was taken in like March of 2020. Imagine if it was taken now. We've gotten so much more bizarre than 2020. This data is old. Has a doctor or healthcare provider ever told you that you have a mental health condition? Percentage saying yes. Conservatives, around women, let's just look at the women, around 20%. Moderates, a little bit higher, but under 30. The bar doesn't go high enough for liberal women. They're over 50%. I mean, I don't take this as fact, but I do look at it as maybe it's something we should look into. I don't know. Is liberalism really a disease? Let me go back. I want to go back to some of the based. Jessica, what's up? Fred the Show, haven't chatted in a minute. Appreciate you. Says 90s, we used hairspray galore. I love the 90s. Patriots of the American Republic. The problem here isn't what Sierra, we're talking about Sierra, going back to that, what she's wearing. The problem here is shouting you're a professing Christian and then dressed like that. Yeah, and there is a problem there. But no one's perfect. But yeah, that's definitely a contradiction, and she should be able to acknowledge that's a contradiction. But look at that. Has a doctor or healthcare provider ever told you that you have a mental health condition? And it's so much smaller with women and men, conservatives, male conservatives and moderates even, than liberals. It's funny, the liberal women go way up. So is there something to this? I would have to look into it more, but that's based on the Pew research, and Pew is left-leaning, right? So I don't know why they would do that why they would be biased the other way. To me, they would be biased in favor of liberals. So this is something that really should be done in an apolitical manner. Andrew Yang said it best when he said, we should have other metrics other than GDP. And we don't even use that anymore, other than GDP, inflation, and stuff like that, to evaluate the effectiveness of the federal government. And one of them should be mental health. You can't do it because the people in charge of the studies will probably be biased, but let's say hypothetically you had good data. We should be looking at, why do young men want to be incels? Why aren't they looking at Sierra and being happy? Why are they not interested in having kids? Why are so many being LGBTQ? Is that organic, or is it kind of forced, or not forced, but peer pressured, or done through the psyop of social media apps? How much does social media playing a role in liberal women, at least in this study, saying that doctors are telling them, y'all are bat-ish crazy? It's something that we really should look into. And you talk about, well, this school got incident happened at this school. This incident happened here, and that's with men, but it's the same question. You want to talk about 2A, but you don't really dig into stuff like this. Let's continue on the topic of women. I'm just going to rattle through, and then I'm going to be out. On the topic of women, I'm not an expert here, but let's go to a subset of women. And let's go to a subset of women that identify as politically black. Some women identify as politically black. In 1917, Miracle at Fatima replied to me on Twitter and said, I would be interested to know your thoughts on why that is. We're talking about why black women are so ride or die with the Democratic Party. As a woman, I am witnessing the attempt to erase the woman and womanhood by the Democratic Party, let alone the double down on aborting and the sexualization of Paul's children. So I replied to that. It's a great question. I'm not no expert. I'm literally in my basement right now. But here's my thought. It's a fascinating topic. Here are my thoughts on this. Black women tend to be more educated. The education system, as we know, is just controlled by cabal Democrat. It's not a free-thinking type of thing. You've got to agree with this or you're pretty much ostracized. You saw what happened when Charlie Kirk wants to go to campus. You're not seeing black women Democrats saying, why is the T group rioting? Why don't they just let them talk? You don't hear that from politically black women. And this headline here from JBHE, this is a paper study. Black women students far outnumber black men at the nation's highest ranked universities. This study has consistently documented the fact that black women hold a large lead over black men in almost every facet of higher education. Black women currently earn about 2/3 of all African Americans' bachelor degree awards, 70% of all master degrees, and more than 60% of doctorates. It is a the educational system is dominated by black women. They are indoctrinated and they are fully on board. I'm not saying that's all bad. I think education is good, don't get me wrong, but when you go through the structure that we have in America, it forces you left. Otherwise, you would be ostracized. Democrats focus on emotion. Every other political side of the political spectrum is terrible on emotion. Dems are so good at emotion. They put the word justice at the end of anything, and women are down for it. Climate justice, immigration justice, race justice, medical justice. Think of something in the world. I think Carlos, friend of the show, sent me an article that they were saying that coffee is racist now. And that's 100% an emotional plea. And I think black women eat that up more than men. A lot of this is just differences between men and women, in my opinion. But when you look at the subset of black women and black men, it plays out like that as well. That framing doesn't work as well with men. At the end of the day, what's the paycheck? What's the money coming in? Democrat politicians are typically very bad when discussing economics. That hurts them with politically black men more than women. So all this stuff sounds nice, but what's the paycheck? What's the income coming into the household? Climate justice doesn't do anything for that. Democrats have done a great job of embracing critical race theory, which attacks in order. The number one person getting attacked are straight white men. Number two, straight white women. And then straight black men. After that, you have straight black women. That's actually the perfect place to be in the totem pole because you can always attack straight white men, straight white women, straight black men, and you don't get attacked because there's always 3 people ahead of you to attack. White women are not in a good spot. The only people they could attack in the hierarchy of critical race theory, remember, they're indoctrinated in the system. If you do math nowadays, if you do medicine, you do critical race theory. I played that video from a while back. It was in the University of Minnesota, made their medical students, something like that, do a pledge. They actually made them do a pledge. I might go back and find that. I don't have it queued up, but it's in all so it doesn't matter if you're in engineering. Mayor Pete Buttigieg is the Secretary of Transportation. He's the Secretary of Transportation. He can't stop talking about critical race theory. I was able to find it quickly, so let me play this video for you to let you know what I'm talking about. University of Minnesota right here. Is an oath that University of Minnesota medical students had to take.
With gratitude, we, the students of the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Medical School class of 2026, stand here today among our friends, families, peers, mentors, and community who have supported us in reaching this milestone. Our institution is located on Dakota land. Today, many Indigenous people throughout the state, including Dakota and Ojibwe, call the Twin Cities home. We also recognize this acknowledgement is not enough. We commit to uprooting the legacy and perpetuation of structural violence deeply embedded within the healthcare system. We recognize inequities built by past and present traumas rooted in white supremacy.
They don't believe that. According to Christopher Rufo, this is. So you heard them talking about white supremacy, and wow, that is unbelievable. So you see, they're in that hierarchy no matter what. Ray Studios says liberal woman and tornadoes are very similar. At first, they're wet and wild, and then they take your house. Did you just think of that? That's hilarious, man. Thank you, Ray, for lightening up my day, man. That was hilarious. No lies detected. Moving along, it leaves black women in the perfect spot to be on the offensive. So somebody in the chat said that, women, a lot of women are being taken over by men converting to women. I bring that up too. I think black women are perfectly fine with that in a way. Here's an example, though, before I do that, on how I talk about the totem pole, how this group here, this in the top left is a black, converting from male to female, biological male. But let's listen to Cynthia G and how they attack black men. Black women feel very comfortable attacking straight black men.
Cynthia G, white supremacy, does it exist in your world? And has it affected black men?
Absolutely, it exists. And black men have worked in tandem with white supremacy since they've become in contact with it. And this is why I say in the black community, we have very disingenuous, very dishonest discussions, especially when it's regarding black men, because we do have a black man.
Oh, I hate when this happens. Hold on a second. It's an older video. This happens with all the older videos. I don't know if it's just me or what, but I can do this real quick. But this is a good place to stop. You see the attack, a direct attack from black women against black men. Just out there in the open. Right there for you to see. With Umar Johnson on the set. Now I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but he did represent on that. Wow, I'm having problems downloading this one. Okay, here we go. So let me get this going. So I'm going to start this over again. Cynthia G going after black men.
Cynthia G, white supremacy, does it exist in your world? And has it affected black men?
Absolutely, it exists. And black men have worked in tandem with white supremacy since they've become in contact.
Now, remember, the topic of this thread is, why are there more black women attached to the Democratic Party than black men? Not all black men are going to MAGA or Republican or wherever, but a lot of them aren't coming out to vote. And there are substantial going to other options. Why is that happening? Because black women are pushing straight black men out of the group. They're doing it because of the hierarchy. They want to have more power. The Democrat Party has become a bunch of weird white people who pretend to let people like Cynthia G have power over them, when they really have no structural power, but they do put them on TV and all that kind of stuff you can look at, from Stacey Abrams to Simone Sanders to others. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is Jamaican and Indian. All of a sudden, she's a black woman. You can't criticize.
Contact with it. And this is why I say in the black community, we have very disingenuous, very dishonest discussions, especially when it's regarding black men, because we do have a black male worshiping culture. So what we do within that culture, and Umar Johnson.
You see that? She's really going after that. She's going after the culture in Western society is not worshiping men. Like when the Bible says worship I forgot how it's worded, but when it says worship your spouse, basically, it doesn't mean like get on your knees and bow to them. It means you serve your wife and your wife serves you. But they go after the Western prescribed culture that's from the Black Lives Matter website, to her going after, wait, we don't worship black men. What black man said that you worship? When I grew up, everybody was like, you treat your wife like a queen. That was like men serve the wife. And They twisted it into something else.
And is showing it today, is absolve Black men from any accountability for what they've done. Number one, we wouldn't be in a system of white supremacy had it not been for Black men. So if you want to go all the way back to history, then let's go back to history when Black men were selling their own people into white supremacy. Let's go back into history when 16 years off the plantation, Black men weren't worried about a war being waged on them. They were worried about getting access to white women. That's what you were worried about. And it's interesting. There's a reason why I feel like
somewhere along the line, because you look kind of like somewhere along the line, your daddy got involved with somebody who was paler. I don't know if they were white or not, but we can pretty much definitively say that.
Umar focused mostly on me and Hope's attitudes, and it's because he can't accurately answer the question. He mentioned names, not accomplishments. And the reason being is because—
I think he mentioned those names specifically because the accomplishments of those people don't have to be explained.
So I'm going to stop from there. Umar did represent, but I don't want to get too off track. But that's I just want to show an example. I like showing examples of what I'm saying, so I'm just not making this stuff up. There's many more. Black women more than men view the Democrat Party as the only option. If you're not Democrat, you're a race traitor. I'm not going to play this clip again, but this is Tiffany Cross going straight up after Black men. This speech from Tucker represents the populist movement that I love. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this was one of my favorite speeches. I'm going to fast forward to—
Speaking of turning point, better torque up the politics.
The reason I'm going to play this is this does not resonate with Black women, politically Black women. It resonates more with Black men. Wait for this clip that went viral recently that's old from 2021. Ooh, I didn't edit it, so I'm wondering if I should play it because it's about the jab. We'll take a look and see. I'll do a disclaimer and maybe I'll play that video.
I have a flexible job, and so I'm not around it. I'm not around any crazy people. I'm around people who disagree with me. That's totally fine with me. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I don't mind being disagreed with. I'm not always right. I'm often wrong. But I definitely don't want to be around crazy people who want to wreck stuff. Absolutely not. I want to be around happy people who want to build stuff.
Very simple statement from Tucker. I don't want to be around crazy people who wreck stuff. Like they're wrecking our whole country to go after Trump. I want to be around people who build stuff. It's very easy to wreck things. It's easy to look at the Constitution, pick out the negatives because no society, no document is perfect, and then try to wreck it. It's much harder to build something better. And that simple message does not resonate. Find a politically Black woman, they won't even acknowledge that as a good thing. You look at Black men, there you will find a much larger percentage where that will resonate. The Tucker, I won't play anymore. That was one of my favorite speeches pretty much ever. This was from 2021, end of 2021, Turning Point USA. Ooh, that speech. I have a video on that whole speech. Search Tucker on the channel if you have time, or Twitter or whatever. It's unbelievable. One of his best speeches. It was way better than I liked his speech this year, but this one was way better. Continuing on. What's the answer? So I want to be solution oriented. Ultimately building parallel economies where you could have different educational paths, different work paths, where you can feel comfortable going to a major corporation and say, I don't hate Trump, and you don't worry about being fired or whatever else. I'm a Christian, don't worry about being fired. Like not even at work, just off work and using your real name on the platform. But that's going to take a long time. But if you have educational opportunities, it gives more diversity. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm just trying to I'm going to try to portray or give you a different perspective, and you choose which one resonates with you better. It would take generations to build out an economy, different parallel economies. We haven't even really started now. So the clock on that, I would say it would take 20 to 40 years to even start that. And we haven't even started yet. So I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime. So what do? Some people, I think, conflate getting the message out, because I agree. You want to get your message out to as many people as possible. Just say, for example, God, family, country. You want to get that kind of message out? You've got to get it out to where everybody is. That includes politically Black people or Black people. But the problem, the difference I have is getting your message out and pandering to them are two different things. I'm for getting the message out that I don't care about skin color. I'm not for getting the message out to talk about, well, even Trump's gone into that. Well, we do this black thing. We're going to do this black economic plan. That's Democrat stuff. That's identity politics. Get your core message out. The same message you go to Iowa, you get to politically black people. Period. You don't need to change it. So that's the distinguishing there. And how does it sound? Steve Bannon was talking about, I'm not going to play the whole clip. I've played this a lot on the channel, but this is the message you want to get out. You don't compromise. You don't pander. This is what, and Steve Bannon knows he's not going to reach politically black women with this, but when you hear him, he says black men, though.
The Chinese Communist Party through the cartels in Mexico across open borders with everybody making money on the way.
This is about George Floyd, by the way. This is his take on George Floyd. I messed up the video, but I think this one might start playing. Let's see. I have all this problem with, I just have to go to my alternate source now, or maybe I'm having internet problems. Actually, I think it's me. 1 second. See if I can get this back.
Chinese Communist Party through the cartels in Mexico across open borders with everybody making money on the way up and the huge profits in that to poison him and no opportunity for a job. And to top it all off, the Chinese Communist Party virus that the elites and the scientific priesthood has basically helped fund and helped do. He had the CCP COVID-19 virus in him. He had the virus in him. He had fentanyl in him. He didn't have access to a great job because all the great manufacturing jobs are shipped off. Look, that's the Greek tragedy to me of George Floyd, is that he was in that position that day. And by the way, let's talk about the fake 20. Well, that's also the CCP, and we know that these foreign entities are putting out this fake money.
I'm telling you, that message resonates with black men. I'm telling you, even if they don't vote Trump or associate with MAGA, I bet you I could find some black men that were like, oh yeah, they might still want to say, no, let's talk about the knee and all that kind of stuff. But they won't say, I disagree with that. Black women, they won't even listen to it. But I bring this up to say, Steve Bannon doesn't compromise his principles. He has a message that resonates in Des Moines or Detroit. It resonates either place, and either it resonates with you or it doesn't. There's no reason to say, black people, look what I'm doing. Or there's no reason for any of that. And I always play this Rush clip. I'm going to let Rush have the last word on this. He said it very eloquently back in the day at CPAC. Rest in peace to the late, great Rush Limbaugh.
Who we conservatives are. We love people. When we look out over the United States of America, when we are anywhere, when we see a group of people such as this or anywhere, we see Americans, we see human beings. We don't see groups, we don't see victims, we don't see people we want to exploit. What we see is potential. We do not look out across the country and see the average American, the person that makes this country work. We do not see that person with contempt. We don't think that person doesn't have what it takes. We believe that person can be the best he or she wants to be if certain things are just removed from their path, like onerous taxes, regulations, and too much government. We love and revere our founding documents, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. We believe that the preamble of the Constitution contains an inarguable truth, that we are all endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them life. Liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, those of you watching at home may wonder why this is being applauded. We conservatives think all three are under assault.
And you notice it sounds a lot like my definition of libertarianism. Who wrote that? Was it John Adams that wrote it? But I think they got that from John Locke. The prosperity, peace, and decentralization. So it's a little bit different, but it sounds a lot like the ideas of liberty. Let me know what you think on that one. I'm going to risk the channel. I know this is going to be a risk. It really is going to be a risk to the channel, but I'm going to do a disclaimer and just hope it goes through. This is a video that's going viral. This is a video that would not have been allowed to have been played during the height of the pandemic, and maybe it still isn't now. My disclaimer is I think Google whatever you want me to think of the jab. I agree with you. The jab is the best thing that's ever happened ever in the creation of man. It does whatever you say it does. Go see your doctor. I'm trying to think of what other disclaimers there are. I would never disobey you, my master. I don't know what else you want me to do. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can? Dr. Fauci he's always right. I would never question him. I'm just reporting the news. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know what else. What else do you want? This CDC, they're perfect. They're great. They didn't do anything wrong. They saved lives. What other bullshit do you want me to say? I don't know. But I think that will be the disclaimers for this. I'm just reporting the news here. Back in 2021, believe it or not, Dr. Fauci went door to door with Muriel Browser. And they ran up. This relates to the black women, black man thing. You won't see many black women do this. I don't want to say all of them, but you probably find 10% or less of black women that would do something like this, especially in the face of evil.
People in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
it's
like
much more
flu.
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all given that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. It's something else going on.
It is something going on.
There's something else.
You're right. But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city. But I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Go get them. They were on their way out, walking away. He was like, I ain't done with y'all. Man, that video gets me pumped. They were walking away because Muriel Browser was like, okay. She was kind of giving the hint to Fauci, like, this ain't gonna work. This is a black man. This ain't gonna work as well as like we had a black Stacey Abrams looking ass woman. Oh, she would have been like, put it in right now. Put it. No. He was like, no. I got words for you. I got a thought for you. Again, YouTube, I would never disagree with you. I'm just saying. I'm just reporting what happened with him, with that bruh. They were walking away, and he had his neck around the corner like, bitch, I'm not done with you. Yes. People are not stupid. He doesn't. Sam Harris. He didn't step out of bounds of anything that he knew. Sam Harris would say, Dr. Fauci is the expert. Open up your arm and let him do what he needs to do. But no, Sam, he's saying, I'm assessing this. I could be right, I could be wrong. But within my realm, your answers to my questions aren't sufficient. So I do say the disclaimer, go to your doctor. But are you crazy? I make the decisions. A doctor doesn't tell me to do this or that. The doctor isn't my daddy. I take the information from the doctor and I say, hey, doc, I appreciate you. Maybe I'm overweight. And the doctor says, cut out McDonald's. You're eating McDonald's 3 times a day, bruh. And the doctor might be right. I want to eat McDonald's 3 times a day. And I'm going to die. I'm going to be a fat ass. And I'm going to die happy. I get to make that decision. So I'm not discrediting the doctor. I'm not discrediting Fauci. I'm not any type of virologist, or I don't even know how to say some of this stuff. I'm not questioning him. I'm just saying, here are the questions. You haven't answered them to my liking, or maybe you have, and I still want you to find some rocks to kick. And while you leave my door and you're walking away, I still have some more words for your bitch ass because you never answered my questions. That's the base bro face is like the typical, whatever, white dude with the blonde hair or whatever. That's the new base bro face right there. I love how he had words. He was like, I ain't done with y'all. Because Barry, I gotta go back to this real quick. Ray Studios, thank you for $2 Super Sack, says, I want to have a beer and cigar with that guy. Same here, man. He needs to get an interview or something. They were interviewing the Nigerian dudes that Jesse Smollett. I mean, get away from those clowns. I will talk about the topic, but this is the dude that needs to see. This is the moment Mario Browser was trying to give the hint to Fauci, like, this ain't gonna work.
There's something going on with it. You're right, but I'm glad.
So she was like, "You right? There's something going." Because he was like, "Yeah, something ain't right," and she was like, "Yeah, you're right. Let me de-escalate. Let me get out of here." Because Mario Browser knew this was gonna get ugly.
Millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting.
So there it is, the perfect black woman. You know what it was? My Democrat master told me what it was. So that's what it is. And Sneeko had a video on Rumble where he was asking people, like, how many would you take? Some people were like, as many as the government tells me to take. And he didn't even comment. He just with the mic in the subway somewhere. So here's the black woman, and there's her Democrat master right there.
In the city. But that's I
Oh, she's like, but I won't hold you up anymore. Well, first of all, in his head, he was like, okay, y'all can go by fee. I didn't ask y'all to come through, but since you did come through, I'm not done with you yet.
Keep doing anymore.
It's okay, because
No. You came on and knocked. You knocked on my door. I'm not done with you.
Y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
I'm not done with you yet. Come here. That was like Scorpion. Come here. You thought you were going to run away? Come here. That's my dude. Oh, man. I haven't seen a video. And that was an old video that Twitter, that's really funny. Twitter wouldn't let that video up back before Elon. It reminds me of my white pill moment. I talk about this every once in a while, but this was my white pill moment. Going back to The Summer of Love, June 4th, 2020, by Dan Diamond, Politico. Suddenly, public health officials say social justice matters more than social distance. These are the same white masters that told Muriel Browser, or whatever her name is, told her to say what she said and can't answer the man's questions. They said social justice, there's that justice there. There's the justice is for your emotion. There's no facts with that. There's no points that back it up. Social justice matters more than social distance in 2020. If you want to know why this channel started, it was this article. I was on Facebook just chatting with people. Then it got more political as the pandemic came. And I was like, Facebook ain't the way. That's a zombie platform. And even more than Twitter was. And I saw this come out. And people I respected go out for Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. And I was like, wait a second, this stuff doesn't make any sense. White coats for Black lives. And they even acknowledge in the article that their messages are also confounded to many who spent spring strictly isolated on the advice of health officials. So remember, this was after they advised us to be locked down, basically. on advice of health officials, only to hear that the need might not be so absolute after all, because it's an election year, a big election year. Remember, that's how Brandon needed to get 81 tickets. Money laundering scheme, Black Lives Matter. Oh, pandemic, forget about that. We need to bring these people out in the streets and then have voting registration cards and bring them all up into the party. Basically forced people, social pressure to be in with the Democratic Party. It's particularly nettlesome to conservative skeptics of the all or nothing approach to lockdown. All of a sudden, if you didn't like lockdowns, you were defined as a conservative. That doesn't make any sense. That has nothing to do with conservatism. So now you're a conservative if you said, well, I don't agree with the policy. Who point out that many of those same public health experts, a group just like Fauci was in that last clip, who point out that many of those same ones tend to skew liberal, widely criticize activists who held largely outdoor protests against lockdowns in April and May. Remember, they locked down churches, no accident there. And then they said, no, you can't protest that we're locking down churches. You can't protest anything. There's this thing in the air that could cause a problem. And then that's when my red pill, it was a slow process, but that's when I swallowed the red pill was when they said, oh, all of a sudden, no, the protests are good. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I mean, I was wide awake at that point, revisiting that. I'm going to end on a happy note. I've criticized the Libertarian Party account when they've made mistakes. Everybody's going to make mistakes. I make all kinds of mistakes on Twitter, especially. I tweet too much, so you're going to make mistakes. But this is a time where they had the moral high ground against getting around the pandemic, but they destroyed Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh tweeted, it was a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. Of course mistakes were going to be made, of course. But to believe the scientists and health care officials all purposely tried to F with our lives is crazy. They did the best they could to help us through something none of us have ever lived before. Okay? Libertarian Party said, this is utterly delusional. The pandemic regime destroyed countless lives, and whenever the reality didn't match the models, goalposts were shifted and statistics were fudged, allegedly, to justify the lockdowns. They did their best to control us, not help us. They went after him. Joe, for some reason, Walsh wanted more. I guess he's a former libertarian or something. He's not a libertarian, never has been. He tried to go after them again, and the Libertarian Party said, scientists and healthcare officials purposely effed with your lives. Not a single one has been punished. Look at how gleeful Fauci and Dr. Birx are when announcing lockdowns in March of 2020. These aren't just honest scientists making a poor but well-intentioned decision. They are psychopathic demons. That is, I'm just reporting the news. I think they are the best people that have ever existed, Fauci and Birx. I think everything they did was perfect, and listen to your doctor and listen to whatever they say. But let's look at what the Libertarian Party was saying.
I just wanted to read, there's an answer to this.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Tony. He was my mentor, so I'm going to have to let him speak.
The small print here, it's really small print.
Trump's smiling too.
In states with evidence of community transmission, bars, restaurants, food courts, gyms, and other indoor and outdoor venues where groups of people congregate should be closed.
So, Mr. President, are you telling...
So you see that nonsense? They came up. Oh, I didn't even play it. Sorry. I didn't even show the video. Let me bring that back and then get that Ray super chat.
I just wanted to read, there's an answer to this.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Tony. He was my mentor, so I'm going to have to let him speak.
The small print here, it's really small print. In states with evidence.
It's in small print, in the really small print here.
So I'm going to have to let him speak.
The small print here, it's really small print. In states with evidence of community transmission, bars, restaurants, food courts, gyms, and other indoor and outdoor venues where groups of people congregate should be closed.
So, Mr. President, are you telling Mr. President, are you telling governors in those states then to close all their restaurants?
Well, we haven't said that yet.
I just wanted to read, there's an answer to this.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Tony. He was my mentor, so I'm going to have to let him speak.
The small print here, it's really small print. In states with evidence of community transmission, bars, restaurants, food courts, gyms, and other indoor and outdoor venues where groups of people congregate should be closed.
So, Mr. President, are you telling governors in those states then to close all their
Give it up for the 336 boys. I wasn't always the man you see today. Let me take you down memory lane.
What's up, man? We here. Bragg made a movie.
Yo, is that T-Dog?
Yeah, I used to step in the spot, drunk, entertaining back. Now I don't want them girls around me. I used to walk in the club, buying bottles, throwing dubs, thinking that it was all that I need. But I already know.
Give it up for the 336 boys.
I wasn't always the man you see today. Let me take you down memory lane.
What's up, man? We here. Bragg made a movie.
Yo, is that T-Dog?
Yeah, I used to step in the spot, drunk, entertaining back. Now I don't want them girls around me. I used to walk in the club, buying bottles, throwing dubs, thinking that it was all that I need. But I already know when I change that old dirt on my name, so I know they don't know about me. But I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me. Brush on my shoulders, how to get the devil off of me. R.I.P. Kept my flesh, no apologies. I don't wanna ever hear 3 words, that's the part for me. Don't care if they talk of me. I was 16 in the strip club, showing love while the DJs playing my song. I was 18 doing shows at all the middle schools, watching young kids singing along. Rapping about money, sex, and women, and they love it. But we grew up the same, so we ain't thinking nothing of it. All we cared about was music, getting drunk and clubbing. But when you become new, then your past means nothing. Yeah, I used to step in the spot, drunk, entertaining back. Now I don't want them girls around me. I used to walk in the club, buying bottles, throwing dubs, thinking that it was all that I need. But I already know when I change that old dirt on my name, so I know they don't know about me. But I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me. I remember we performed with Soulja Boy, back to crank that, and we knew success was coming soon. We could taste that, and we had dreams of making money just to make tracks. And but that was early on. I could take you way back when we was on 106 and Park, and the city was behind us. That was around the time I dated Ariana, and then we got on radio and ran the Carolinas, just telling girls to shake for the dollars. And then we started really getting views. We performed with J. Cole at WSSU. Labels was calling too, but God knew, so he didn't give me the fame. Now look at me getting attacked for his name. Yeah, I used to step in the spot, drunk, entertaining back. Now I don't want them girls around me. I used to walk in the club, buying bottles, throwing dubs, thinking that it was all that I need. But I already know when I change that old dirt on my name, so I know they don't know about me. But I'm giving God all of me. I'm giving God all of me.
And as always,
Go to switchtoamerica.com for all of your household items, body wash, lotion. They got everything, toothpaste. But not only that, they now got steak. You can get steak from switchtoamerica.com, and make sure you use my name in the drop-down box, of course. So switchtoamerica.com. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'm out.